Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Federation Faction Pack To Boldly Go for Star Trek Attack Wing. This is one of the ones that WizKids sent to me to do a review on and check out the basically faction in a box setup they have here to get you started in playing Attack Wing. This is one of the videos that got corrupted on the drive failure, so I've already recorded this once, so inside here, a lot of the things have already been punched out in that, and I'm sorry for that. I can't really go back and do that, but we'll get in, we'll take a look, and we'll go over everything that's in here. The first thing we have here are the models. They're all the new silver designs from the repaints, and we'll get to them. We'll close up in a little bit, but we have a Galaxy class, an Akira class, a Miranda class, and a Defiant class, which I cannot get out of there. There we go. And a Defiant class. Up here, this is where the punch-out boards were. There were two punch-out boards. But you have your dials, card pack, and then on this side, these were in the punch board. You had a pack that had the hubs to the dials in it, and the pegs, which are loose in here, I think. So everything's still in there, just packaged up differently because I already punched it out. So sorry about that. We're going to get it all set up though and show you what all's here. And there's a look at everything that comes in the Federation Faction expansion To Boldly Go. We have all of our ships here. We have all of our shield tokens. All the captains down here. There's an admiral token. We have our dials. Extra pegs for the bases. These reminder tiles, which I'm not a huge fan of these new ones. They have the image of the card on one side and then the text of what they go to on the other. I like the old ones that had the text on one side and actually told you what they did on the other side. I've never been a big fan of using the reminder tokens anyway, so that's totally a personal thing, I think, but I just not a big fan of the ones with the artwork that don't actually say what they do. But then we have all our ship cards here, ship maneuver cards, all our upgrade cards, a ambassador reference card for the additional rules, and then our two missions. Starting off with the ships, we finally get a Galaxy class that is not the Enterprise, with the USS Odyssey. And pretty good stat line overall. Extra hull there is nice. You have one tech upgrade, one weapon upgrade, 3 crew upgrades for 28 points. And the special ability is, as a free action, you can place an auxiliary token beside this ship. Target all friendly Federation ships with a hull value of 3 or less within range 1 to 2. The target ships all roll +2 defense dice and may convert one blank into a battle station the next time they defend this round. So that's an interesting combo. Basically lets it act as like a flagship to order around the little ships in your fleet and get them bonuses. They have to be within range 2 of it. It's not too bad. Definitely nice to see some love out there for the Galaxy class, though. Not one of my favorite ships in Attack Wing, unfortunately. Then we have our standard Galaxy class. You lose 1 on the shield, so you still keep that nice 5 hull. You are losing 1 of your tech upgrade, so your only tech upgrade. Everything else is the same. For 22 points, I like the reduced cost on the generic ships. Still, it's a decent stat line, but I'm not a huge fan of the Galaxy class, so at least the name version has the ability, which makes it worth something. Don't think I'll ever use a generic Galaxy class. Next we have the Akira class, the USS Spectre. And this one has a pretty similar stat line. You've got the 5 and 3, which is the same as the generic on the Galaxy. And you've got the extra maneuverability there, or agility, which is nice. 1 tech, 3 weapon upgrades, and a crew upgrade. Very weapon heavy, which is nice. 24 points. And our ability here is Federation weapon upgrades equipped to the ship cost 1 point less, which is nice because you can mount 3 of them on there. And then when attacking with a photon torpedo upgrade during the modify attack dice step, you can destroy a shield on the defending ship. So, kind of incentive to give you multiple photon torpedoes in there and make use of them. If you use the time lock ones, you could stagger them out so as you fire them, the first one's coming back online when you fire the last one. So, interesting builds that you can make around this ship. I kind of like the way it's set up. I have to see how it plays. I don't think I actually own an Akira class. I'm not sure if they even released another one. I'm sure they did at some point, but my memory's foggy on the game. It's been a while. Just getting back into it, so. But yeah, I'm going to have to play this one and see how she works out. Then we have the generic Akira class. You're losing 1 shield. You lose the tech upgrade, which kind of hurts. I'd rather lose 1 of the weapon upgrades and keep the tech, but that's just me. 21 points, though, is pretty good, especially for the stat line you're getting there. Decent mid-range ship, I think. Then we have our Miranda class, the USS Tiananmen. And it's got a light stat line, but all the Miranda classes did. Still pretty good for its size and age of a ship. I can't knock that. And it's got decent maneuverability and that wide fire arc, which makes up for it. So, can't complain about that. 1 tech upgrade, 1 weapon upgrade, 2 crew upgrades for 14 points. And our ability is, during the activation phase, target a friendly ship within range to 2 that has an auxiliary token beside it. Place 2 time tokens on a crew upgrade equipped to this ship. The target ship does not skip its perform action step this round. That one's kind of cool. You're sacrificing a crew on yours so that a ship with a auxiliary token can still take an action. So if somebody's using a weird combo that gives you an auxiliary token because they're expecting that to kind of screw you over, this can counter that. It's an interesting concept. I don't tend to get too many auxiliary tokens built up just when I need to pull a red maneuver, obviously. Sometimes you need those turnabout maneuvers. So I'm not sure how often I would use that, but it's definitely has its uses in the right situation. I do like the Miranda class, though. I've seen a guy use a squad in the old days of 5 generics with the old points cost and clean house with it. So I'm curious to see what they can do now with the named ones costing cheaper than the generic ones used to. So sure, you can build an interesting build around them. Then we have our generic Miranda class, and you're losing another shield on there, so you're down to 5 total there, which is not great, but again, you have that huge fire arc. You could probably build something around this with the right upgrades. You only get the 1 weapon, 1 crew on there to work with, but for 12 points, you really can't go wrong. Then we have the USS Sao Paulo, the Defiant class, and I think it's kind of lazy that they used a Defiant image. Granted, the Sao Paulo was only in 1 episode, and even that, it was only maybe a quarter of the episode before it was renamed the Defiant, but still, would have been nice to actually see an image of the Sao Paulo. Stat line, I believe, is identical to the USS Defiant. We got 7 total between the hull and shield, which isn't bad. The 3 attack always bugged me on them, though. I thought that should be higher, but you can boost that up with weapon upgrades. Then we have a tech upgrade, 2 weapon upgrades, 2 crew upgrades for 20 points. And the ability is when attacking, if the ship spends a battle station token, you basically get your battle station token back so you can use it again during defense. Kind of a cool ability there. A lot of times you have to decide, do you want to use your battle stations on your offense or you want to save it in case you're getting shot at. In this case, you get to use it for both. So that's kind of cool. I like it. Then we have our generic Defiant class, and you're losing one of the shields on there, but everything else is pretty much the same. You're losing 1 crew upgrade, which really hurts it. Federation tend to run crew-heavy builds to get those interesting combos going off, but I don't know if you really need it on this ship, but you just still keep the 2 weapons, which is nice. And it's only 15 points, which I love in these new reduced points cost on the ships. Onto the ships themselves. Of course, the Galaxy class hasn't changed. 90-degree front arc, 90-degree rear arc. Horrible maneuverability, but it's kind of to be expected. It is a boat of a ship. The model itself is the new repaint version in the silver with the windows painted on there. I will give them credit. I think the deflector dish came out really cool on these. I love the way it looks. But overall, the model hasn't changed, just the paint on it. Next we have the Akira class. And there you got the 90-degree front arc. I'm not sure. I think we might have had a USS Thunderchild or something at one point. That was an Akira class, so it might not be the first time we're getting this. The ship itself, the ship always reminded me of like a more advanced modified version of the NX-01. But I like the detail they put into it. Painted these panels on the top. The warp nacelles and the deflectors. All they did on the deflector on this one was a dot of blue, which is kind of sad, but serves its purpose. Onto our Miranda. I love the layout of the Miranda, the 180-degree front arc plus the 90-degree rear arc. You only have these tiny little blind spots in the back corners. The ship model itself has not changed, but the paint job definitely has on these. These vents, I don't remember the vents on there ever being painted. As well as the ring around the bridge section there. Nothing to speak of much on the bottom. But interesting ship design. Obviously a classic. And then our Defiant class. We have a 90-degree front arc on there, 90-degree rear arc on there. Decent maneuverability too, which compensates for having only the 90. The ship model itself, not too bad. They kind of skipped on the front side of the nacelles. I think the old model used to have texture there. But still a nice model. I always despise the fact that it's like 5 times the size it should be. But none of the ships in the game are really to scale, so. We get on to our maneuvers. The boat of a Galaxy class there, as we mentioned, has a 1 and 2 reverse, which is interesting. Both red, of course. You got your 1 banks that are green. You get into your 2s, even your light banks are white. That's all you can do. Into the 3s, and you start getting into red hard turns. But you do have that 4 and 5 forward, so it's a fast ship. Just does not handle well without really stressing itself and have to be pulling those 3 tight turns to really do much. Next we have the Akira class. That's a pretty standard setup for the average ship here. You've got the greens in the expected spots. The 2 white hard turns are nice. 3 red hard turn. It's kind of expected. U-turn in the 3 there is nice. But pretty much a standard maneuverability for a decent ship. Again, the Miranda has pretty much that same setup, except it's a bit more maneuverable. As you can see, the red turns are in white. Oddly enough, it has a 2 reverse, but not a 1 reverse, so keep that in mind when setting your dial. But overall, it's a pretty maneuverable ship. You can make any maneuver on the dial except the reverse in white or green, which is really nice. And then added in that huge fire arc really helps. Onto the Defiant. Again, it's got pretty much the exact same standard layout. Everything is in white and green except the 3 U-turn. So you give up a reverse move for a U-turn. That's definitely a good trade-off in something like the Defiant, where you're going to be using a lot of forward-facing attacks. So being able to swivel around is awesome. On to our upgrade cards. Start off with our captains. We have Benjamin Sisko. Captain skill of 8, 1 elite talent per 5 points. When attacking during the modify attack dice step, if a defending ship is a Dominion ship or has a Dominion captain equipped to it, add a critical. That's a really nice ability. Situational if you're fighting Dominion, but a lot of our friends play specific factions all the time. Like I have one friend who plays nothing but Jem'Hadar, so he'll be useful against them. And during the end phase, you can remove an auxiliary token beside the ship. He plays good with the Defiant. You can get in there, make your attack run, pull that U-turn, come about maneuver, which is red, and then at the end of the turn, remove the auxiliary token you got from it. So definitely interesting and useful if you're fighting against any Dominion factions. So the Jem'Hadar, the Brain, the Cardassians, and so on. Next we have Kyo. Captain skill 7, 1 elite talent for 4 points. During the modify attack dice step, when a friendly Federation ship in range 1 to 2 is defending, the attacking ship is within the this ship's front arc, you can convert one hit into a blank. So that's kind of useful. I believe he was the captain of the Odyssey. And we all know how that went for the Odyssey. So next we have Leighton. Captain skill of 6, 1 elite talent for 4 points. As an action, target a ship and place 2 time lock tokens on this card. The target ship attacks last this turn. So you can basically delay someone until the end of the firing turn. Maybe get a chance to blow them up before they can shoot or whatnot. Screw up their plan somehow. It's kind of interesting. And Leighton is also an admiral. So you can play him on his admiral side. Gives you +2 to your captain skill, still costs 4 points, and then his ability becomes a fleet action. So, a little bit of versatility there. Him combined with the Sisko would be kind of entertaining, putting him up to a captain skill of 10. Next we have Jadzia Dax. Captain skill of 6, 1 elite talent for 4 points. You do not pay a faction penalty when equipping Klingon elite talent to this card. And during the activation phase, this ship can perform a 1 bank either direction. So you get a little bit of added maneuverability, and you can bring those interesting Klingon elite talents with you. Which is kind of interesting. I like it. Then we have Worf. Captain skill is 6, 1 elite talent, dual faction, Federation and Klingon for 4 points. And when attacking during the modify attack dice step, spend the battle station token beside this ship, convert all blanks into hits. That can be very useful, and the fact that it's a reusable ability, I really like. Put him on the Defiant, or the Sao Paulo, sorry, and you're getting that battle station back to use on defense as well. So, very interesting. I think he was designed specifically for that ship, obviously, but very good combo there, and I think I will be trying that out. Onto our crew upgrades, and Federation always gets a bunch of those because they have a lot of interesting crew combos they can pull off. First one we have is Enrique Muniz. 2 points. When attacking or defending, place 2 time tokens on this card and target a friendly ship within range 1 to 2. This ship may use 1 battle station, evasive, or scan token beside the target ship as though it was beside this ship. It's another way to get tokens that you need in order to trigger other abilities. Not a bad thing, especially if you have a combo-centric build that needs one of these, or needs multiple sometimes, and you can only have 1 on your ship. Now you can borrow 1 from another friendly ship. So, can definitely see where that would be used. Next we have Sarita Carson. 2 points. During the combat phase, place 2 time tokens on this card. You can perform a 1 or 2 forward green maneuver. Extra maneuverability is always nice. I don't know how useful extra forward maneuverability would be. Maybe if you're just short of being in range, or you're in range and you want to get yourself out of range from somebody shooting you in the backside. I can see there's definitely uses for it. Would have been nicer if it was a turn option, though, at least in my opinion, but I can see where they would be useful, though. Next, we have Esri Dax. I want to know if Jadzia Dax and Esri Dax are both unique. Are you allowed to have them both on the same fleet? Because technically they're the same character, or at least half the same character. That's a question for the rules team, but Esri is 2 points, and she adds 1 crew to your upgrade bar, so basically she doesn't take a crew slot, because she uses 1 and then gives you 1 back. And whenever 1 or more time tokens will be placed on this ship's captain or a crew upgrade equipped to the ship, place 1 fewer. You can see where that would combo with a couple of the other crewmen that we have here. Definitely interesting. She also combos with the Admiral there, so if you're using him in the captain anyway. But yeah, I like her. Next we have Akira Nerys. 3 points. As a free action, place 3 time tokens on this card, target an opposing ship within range 1. Disable a tech upgrade equipped on that ship, then roll an attack die. On a hit or crit, discard a crew to the equipped ship. So basically, I think that's supposed to represent her beaming on board and sabotaging their equipment and a chance of taking out a crewman in the process. That's what I get from it, but not bad, but the delay of 3 kind of hurts it, but with Ezra you could lower that down. Range 1's really the killer here. You got to be right on top of somebody to do it. You're paying 3 points to disable a upgrade that they can possibly just re-enable. Discarding the crew is the real perk here, but you've also got to roll that hit or crit in order to do that. Very situational. I can see where it would be useful, especially on someone who's relying on a big heavy combo build. Knocking out a crewman is definitely a killer for those, as well as taking out certain tech. There's a lot of really nasty tech cards out there, so I could see its uses. Setting it up is difficult, and being able to use it more than once is even harder because of the delay. But if you can pull it off, definitely she would be worth her weight. And last we have Julian Bashir. I actually despise the character, so I'm a little biased on this one, but 2 points. During the activation phase, target a crew upgrade equipped to this ship or another ship, and the other ship has to be within range 1. Remove 2 time tokens or a disabled token from the target crew upgrade. If the target crew is on an opposing ship, that ship rolls -1 attack die this game round. Not sure why you would want to remove, disable, and time tokens from your opponent's ships. Definitely could see where it would be useful on your own ships, but giving them a -1 attack for rearming some of their things, I just don't see where that would be beneficial unless you plan on taking them out that turn, and that 1 less, they're going to shoot before you, that 1 less attack die might make a difference on your ship being damaged. But not a big fan of Bashir to start with, so I'll probably pass on that one, but you decide if it's something you'd be interested in. Next we have our weapon upgrades. First one on the top here is phaser cannons. And these can only be equipped on a Defiant class. They fire out of the forward arc. They're 3 points, attack value of 4, and 1 to 2 range. As an attack, you place 3 time tokens on this card, target an opposing ship. After attacking with this upgrade, you may make an additional attack with the ship's primary weapon. So that's kind of cool. You get a 4-die attack with this, a 3-die attack with the primary weapon following. So makes it feel a little bit more like the Defiant. The 3 time token on there kind of hurts, but there's ways to reduce those. Not a bad upgrade for 3 points though. Next up we have photon torpedoes, and these are a big overhaul from the original ones. Can fire from the front and rear arc. Only 2 points, which is a huge discount over the original. The major change is that the attack value now is based on the ship's primary weapon value +1, range 2 to 3. You spend the ship's target lock token, disable this card, target an opposing ship, and then you can convert all your blanks into battle stations. So obviously these are going to be good on the Akira class with its ability. You get 2 of these in the pack, although I found it very strange that my 2 are different colors. I don't know if the printing looks like the printer ran out of ink. But anyway, you got 2 of these in this, and I think you're probably going to equip both of them on the Akira just to make use of its ability. I think it's a huge upgrade over the original photon torpedoes, so I don't see any reason not to take those if you're a fan of photons. Next we have the dorsal torpedo pod. This can only go on an Akira class for 3 points. When attacking with a Federation torpedo upgrade, this ship can target an opposing ship with a torpedo that is outside of its normal firing arc. So, with that Akira class only having the 90-degree front arc, this will allow you to fire basically all the way around because you got your primary arc you can shoot out of anyway, and then all the way around the back you can shoot out of using this. So, that's a pretty nice upgrade. Combined with the ship's ability and a couple torpedoes, I think you can't go wrong with that. Then we have Experimental Torpedo Bay. This is 2 points, and at the start of the game, place a torpedo weapon with a printed cost of 5 or less face down under this. During the combat phase, discard this card, put the card beneath this card face up, and equip it to the ship, ignoring restrictions. I don't really understand the point of this one, because it takes up a weapon slot, it gives you a weapon, so that really doesn't matter. You're filling the slot of the weapon. You put a 5-point upgrade under here, and it only costs you 2 points. And then during the combat phase, you can discard this card. So literally on the very first turn, even though you don't have combat, you still have a combat phase, you can discard this 2-point card to get up to a 5-point card. I don't understand why you wouldn't use this if you were getting any kind of the older torpedoes where they cost more than 2 points. Anything that costs more than 2 points that counts as a torpedo upgrade, you'd be silly not to use this. So, it's just a weird card. I'm not sure why it exists, but you figure it out. Onto our tech upgrades. First one we have here is a Blade of Armor. I think this was built into the Defiant's actual named ability on the ship, but can only be put on a Defiant class. 2 points. When defending, during the defense dice step, you roll +1 defense dice, which is nice. And then when defending during the modify attack dice step, you can convert all of the criticals into hits. So basically you can't get hit with a critical while you have this equipped, which is pretty awesome. At least from normal dice rolls. I think there's other ways to get them by converting dice or adding things afterward, but still, it's really nice to have overall. That +1 defense is worth the 2 points alone, so really nice card. I like it. Next we have Metaphasic Sweep. 1 point. As a free action, discard this card. Perform a target lock action as a free action, even if the target ship has a cloak token beside it. So that's pretty powerful. It's one of the only ways I know to get a target lock on a cloaked ship. For 1 point, you really can't go wrong with that if you're facing something that's going to be using cloaking. It's a 1 point, 1 use discard, but it could be worth it. If you hit them with a nice torpedo barrage or something while they're cloaked, that's going to force them to uncloak, to bring up their shields, and then you can get another target lock after that. At least it's been my experience, so it'll be an interesting card to see if you've got an extra point to spare and you might be facing an opponent using cloaking ships, which at this point is Klingons, Romulans, some of the Jem'Hadar or the Cardassian ships. I think there's a few others out there as well, so it's there. There's even a couple of Federation ships that can cloak. The Defiant. I'm not sure what else you can put that on, but I know it goes on the Defiant. But anyway, so yeah, if you get an extra point, why not? Then finally we have Advanced Shields here. And this can only go on a Federation ship, and it has to be on a ship with 5 or more hull, which limits you in this to the Galaxy class, I think. Nope, the Akira's got a 5 too, so you can go on either of those. For 4 points, it adds 2 to the ship's shield value, which is nice. That's worth the 4 points alone. And then as an action, you can remove this card from play and repair up to 3 shields on the ship. I assume if the card is removed from play, you also lose your extra 2 bonus shields. So I'm not sure on that one. I think so because the card's not in play to give you that bonus anymore. It doesn't say to modify your base value like some cards do. So I'm thinking that you lose that ability when it's gone. But to repair up to 3, still a nice ability. Having 2 extra from the start, once you're down a couple anyway, it's not going to matter. So I like I like the whole setup of this, and the fact that you're adding 2 extra shields to those ships. The Galaxy class starts with a 9 between a 5 hull. They both have 5 hull, 4 shield on that, 5 hull, 3 shield on that. Adding an extra 2 shields to both of them puts them above 10 hit points, which makes pretty beastly ships, I think. And then the ability to discard this to repair shields later on. Definitely a nice one there. And the last thing we have here are the ambassador cards. And these were new to me. I'm not sure if they have been introduced in previous expansions or whatnot. But it's been a while since I got into things. Just starting to get back into it. And this was the first time I came across them. They come with this ambassador reference card that explains how they work. They don't count as captains, admirals, or upgrades, so they don't take up a slot on your ship. Fleet can only have 1 admiral card in it. You don't pay faction penalties for putting them on the ships. And at the start of the game, you activate their negotiations, and there's 2 options on here, and your opponent either has to agree or disagree. If they agree, you go by the top ones. If they disagree, you go by the bottom ones. If they accept, and then the ship with the ambassador on it's destroyed, immediately triggers the negative side of them. So, interesting new thing on there. They have some weird abilities. So we're going to start off with Luxana Troy. And she's 3 points. And then this is the agreement you have to make. At the start of the game, you target a captain or crew upgrade equipped to the target ship. So you pick one of their ships and then pick a captain or crew on there. Whenever this ship moves in range 1 of the target ship, disable the captain equipped to this ship and the targeted captain or crew upgrade on the opponent's ship. So both yours and theirs get disabled, but you have to be in range 1, which is kind of minor at best. So I see people accepting that one more often than not. The denied places 3 time tokens and a disabled token on the target captain or crew. So they're either going to start the game with 3 time tokens and a disable on their captain, which is pretty hurtful, or one of the crewmen, depending on what you pick. Or whenever you come within range 1, they're going to disable that captain or crew, and you get to disable yours. So it's not really as bad of a trade-off there. So, like I said, with her, I see most people accepting the top one. I don't think I would ever actually use her, because I don't think anyone's ever going to choose the bottom. Now, that said, if the ship with her on it gets destroyed, this bottom one triggers automatically. So that's interesting. And next we have Sarek. Sarek has dual faction, Federation, and Vulcan for 3 points. His negotiations accepted rule is that when the ship and the target ship are within range 1 to 3 of each other, neither one of them can target each other with an attack unless there are no other targets. So that's an interesting ability. It's really hard to get only one ship in range 1 or within range 1 to 3 unless you're the last ship anyway. And then the bottom option is to place 3 time tokens next to all weapon upgrades on the target ship. This one's very situational because if they're using just a high primary attack value ship that doesn't have any weapons that's equipped to it, then this does nothing. So I do like him though, and I think most people would probably choose this option over this one, unless you're running large fleets or I don't know. That's kind of goes both ways on there, because if you're running small fleet, once you blow up 1 or 2 ships, then it's easy to target him. So this one could go either way, but he's definitely the better of the 2 admirals in here. And then our final thing is the 2 missions. First up, we have Operation Rescue, which is where I believe a ship was sent out to do an expedition and got trapped on the Dominion side of the wormhole. And you're sending a ship in. You get 125 points, including 1 Galaxy class and 3 other ships that each have a hull value of 3 or less. One of the non-Galaxy class ships is disabled, and it cannot be equipped with A unique captain cannot be a shuttle, cannot have 3 or more cards equipped to it. Where the other player is playing 75 points, including at least 3 ships that have a hull value of 3 or less. Each opposing ship may equip a suicide attack bar for free without costing an upgrade slot. Then you have this planet here. The disabled ship is going to start within range of that. This appears to represent a wormhole. I think I actually have a wormhole token from an OP event, which I would probably use for that. But your objectives are basically to rescue the disabled ship. It can't move, be placed, take actions, attack, nor be attacked. During the end phase, if another Federation ship's within range 1 of the disabled ship, remove the disabled token. It is no longer disabled and can act normally. During the end phase, the opposing player rolls an attack die. If they roll a hit or crit, they choose who has initiative for the next turn. And then the Federation's got to escape. If they put the front edge of their ship's template touches the wormhole, they leave. The opposing player cannot attack the Federation disabled ship, regardless of whether or not the disabled token is there. So they're basically letting that one escape. The Federation player wins if the disabled ship gets rescued and at least 75 points worth of your fleet escape, including the disabled ship. And the enemy players win if they destroy all the Federation ships except for the disabled ship, which they can't hurt. So it's kind of an interesting concept there. I like the layout of that one, and I will be giving it a try, especially using the actual wormhole token. The second mission here is Insurrection. And this one's about a Federation admiral who actually went too far and basically his negotiations with a planet to join the Federation overstepped the line, and you need to go in and stop him. In this one you get 50 points, including 1 Federation ship. And then the opposing player gets 60 points, including at least 2 ships. You have your Federation player starts here. The other player actually starts next to the planet. There's this minefield here. Then these objective tokens around it represent the Metron gas clouds down here. If a ship or a maneuver template touches them, then they're immediately destroy one of its shields and place an auxiliary token beside it. You're in the briar patch, so you have the limit of speed of 2. Anything you go over 2, you start taking damage for. You can take auxiliary token to reduce that damage by 1, and if this is applied to your hull, it's actually a critical instead of a normal hit. Metaphasic radiation. All ships remove 1 disable token or 2 time tokens instead of 1 from any crew upgrade, or captain, or admiral, or elite talent. Pretty much everything that's not technical. Each phase, you can move 1 mission token from the planet to the minefield. The minefield token can be attacked. It doesn't roll any defense dice. You move 1 mission token from the minefield planet for each hit or crit. If there's no more mission tokens on the minefield, it is destroyed. And then on the end here, your objectives is you win by destroying the minefield token. The enemy player wins if they destroy all the Federation ships, or if they basically siphon all the resources off the planet. And you can adjust the difficulty by adjusting the number of mission tokens that are on the planet and collector there, which I believe is on the first card. You start with 9. So the idea is this admiral is slowly siphoning away the resources of this planet, and you need to stop him before it's too late. I kind of like that. I like the thematic aspect of it, and can't wait to give that one a try as well. Overall, I think this is a pretty good starter faction for Federation. You're already going to have your starter set, which comes with... I'm not sure what the new starter set comes with. I really need to look into that. But the old one came with a Galaxy class. So you're going to have a Galaxy class plus another Galaxy class. I don't think you need to. It's not that great of a ship in the game, and honestly, I don't use them. So kind of disappointed by that. but it seems iconic to have one in here, so I can't knock them for doing that. The rest of the fleet's kind of mismatched. You have the Akira, which is nice. The Miranda is situational, but it can be useful. I've seen them used exceptionally well. And then, of course, the Sao Paulo, the Defiant class, is an excellent ship. Would have liked to have seen a Sovereign class in here, maybe, in place of one, or something more useful than the Galaxy. But at the same time, like I said, the Galaxy's kind of iconic, so I understand why it's here, especially when they're pushing Dominion and stuff right now, and we all know what happened to the poor Odyssey, so that makes sense. It also fits with the rescue operation mission. This, I think, is supposed to be based on the mission where the Odyssey was taken out, and they let a ship escape to tell everyone else about their awesome new weapon that disabled the whole ship, and went on to destroy the Defiant even, thanks to the brain. But anyway, that's what I get from this. That's what that's supposed to be. That's why one ship's supposed to be disabled and then escape, so they can tell everybody about it. Overall, though, the pack has a decent variety of things available, and I think you can build a good fleet out of this that's playable right out of the box, which is the intention of these. I just said I wish they had some other options in there. If you can track one down, obviously pick yourself up a Voyager expansion. That'll be a huge addition to your fleet, and possibly the Defiant. They're not as hard to get. I think they were reprinted. So that might give you a little bit more options and allow you to cut out the Galaxy. But other than that, it's a decent fleet in a box, and I think that's the intent. And it's more than enough combined with the starter set to get you going if you're looking to play Federation. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our look at the Star Trek Attack Wing Federation Faction Pack to Boldly Go. And I hope it helps you decide if it's something worth looking into for yourself or adding to your collection. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.